not, well,
Yeah, so without a quorum,
Okay.
you just can't take any actions that require a vote, because
Right.
for that you need to have at least.
yeah,
So I'm gonna
Majority.
just, Brian asked me to change the agenda so that we take up the turkey trot when he gets here. So we'll have a quorum at that point, and at that point, we can vote on accepting the past minutes.
Okay,
oh, okay, so,
and before you go too much further, Karen. The problems that we seem to be having with volume to the Zoom meetings, actually, I think are related to my laptop. Because it's not reading any of the external microphones when I plug them in. Which means the only mic is on my laptop, so try to project, use your outdoor voices, guys.
Or use your outdoor voice.
Well, using my outdoor voice would make people's ears bleed, but yes, please.
okay.
Okay, so before we choose a moderator. All right, I'm just writing down who's here, so Valerie's here. All right. Moderator,
I will moderate,
loudly, okay.
okay,
Hi, over there.
all right, so we can't do the minutes until.
You can't do anything that requires a vote of the commission until you have a quorum.
Okay,
Do we have to vote on changes to the agenda?
Technically, yes.
Well. All right,
so the meeting is open and we're waiting for Brian.
well, he's in another meeting, so we don't know when he's gonna get here.
Oh,
I'll text him. I know where
okay,
he is.
so-
Well, no, I mean, he said he'll be here when he gets here.
I'll just let him know that you don't have a quorum, and then perhaps he can rush himself through whatever it is he's doing. I know where he is.
Right,
Can we do correspondence?
yes, we can do correspondence.
Okay, so we'll hold on the minutes, but we'll move on to correspondence.
So, I'm just gonna report back because. Back to August. I don't have all the verbiage because it's been a back and forth. One with Joe Martino about the events, but I'm supposed to report all the. Correspondence, and then back and forth with Valerie about the signs at the trailer parking. And then the only other correspondence that nobody knows about, or some people know about, is from Ann Woolette. She wrote and she questioned, there's a route at the gate going towards the tri-state marker.
Yeah,
And she's having trouble having a
So that-
disability vehicle go
goes
through.
there. Is actually on the side of the trail with. They got the gate goes across, then there's it's not the trail, but people go around it, so it's not even on it, it's on the side of the trail, people go around. But that's what they want. But it's not actually on the trail. It's on a, when you go around the gate.
So is there, what's an option for, it needs fill, right? Or to make it accessible,
I don't know, it's a huge,
it's huge,
to depend about, I don't, it's a huge route that's going through there to some tree or something. It's been there as long as I've been going there, so
all right, so it's,
probably getting worse because people drive, ATVs and stuff around there, they might dig up a little bit around it.
and what about on the other side? That big rock there on the other side?
The other side, on the left side, it's, I don't know what's there, but yeah, it might be something in the way. If you fill that in with dirt, whatever, I think it's gonna be more of a safety hazard, because it's gonna be, it's gonna be just gravel on an incline where you're going up and down.
Lafredo's on his way.
Okay, so we'll have to. Look at it, I mean, is it something that needs a bridge?
No,
I'm not sure how to address this.
Can the root system be kind of like chopped away?
you could probably chop some of it away. but then you're gonna have a.
Well, I know one way or the other, you're gonna get a dugout somehow.
Okay, so that's all the correspondence I have.
Okay, so, the finances,
Finances, I'll just report that we sold a lot of t-shirts and I'm gonna turn in the money. And so we've covered the cost of what we spent to buy 30 new shirts.
That's good.
And made a couple $100.
good,
So
You sold a lot of shirts then.
we sold 18. The 18 at the,
no,
Right.
14,
no, it was 18 if you count the Venmo charges.
oh, yes, that's
So
right,
18 and then we sold 3 at Community Day.
3 or 2,
Three.
3, oh, good,
Right, community day. Just great.
okay,
So we still have a backlog and I'm not gonna recommend us replenishing the sizes until we have another kind of event or something.
So there's some popular sizes that tend to go.
What we had were a lot of large and extra large and extra 2X. And so we sold some of those, but I had only ordered small, medium and larges. So now we've got a few of almost every, I think there's one, the orange larges are all gone or something, but there's a few of each in the green and the orange. And there's 2 short sleeve left. So I don't know, if we wait till summertime and we want to look at short sleeve again, but. So citizens' comments?
yeah, well, that's what's coming next, all right, I didn't know if you were done with the finance.
Yeah.
Okay, citizens' comments,
Valerie, have anything?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to obviously follow up to find out at some point in the meeting, I'm hoping we're gonna hear about moving the trailer parking signs. Thank you.
Okay, so. Brian's on his way, but.
I think I just heard the door open. Here he is. Now you can go to whatever you want.
Quorum is here.
yay.
Hello, Mr. Quorum.
No, you got it, that's an extra one. We should have 3 sheets on that other file. No. You have half.
Just take a whole lot.
Yeah. half.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay, so. We have the signs, is that what we're asking
Well,
about?
go back and.
Do you wanna do the, okay, now that we have a quorum, we're going to go back to, the,
The other side of this.
on the other side, okay. Corrections to approval of the past minutes of August 4th.
So that set of minutes is 3 pages, the front and the back and the short page.
Yep. Can we get an approval? I don't hear anything about corrections. Can we have an approval?
I make a motion to, can I make a motion to accept?
I guess you
I
can.
don't see why not.
All right,
I'll second.
Okay, so Brian second. All right, changes to the
All
agenda.
Approval.
all in
Huh?
favor?
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye. All right, so
Do
the,
the second.
the second one, yes, September 15th. We have a motion to, corrections or approval for September 15th. That was a special meeting that we had for basically the event that,
That's on the back of the agenda.
ribbon cutting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, so now we're up to, citizens,
So we don't have to change the agenda, Brian's here.
what's that?
Brian's here, we don't have to change the agenda.
No, okay, but we're up to,
Yeah.
we're at events.
Yeah.
Okay, the ribbon cutting, a recap. I thought we had a good turnout.
I thought it was an excellent event overall. Just to respond to Valerie on that, I just texted the crew chief since I, like everyone else, was surprised that after we went out there, the 2 signs still weren't moved. So if he's monitoring his phone, I may have a direct answer before the end of the meeting, but other than that, I just have to keep following up.
Okay,
But the signs are actually supposed to be up as you drive in, on the
We-
left and the right.
Right.
We marked them with stakes, and in
Okay.
fact,
Those
Valerie was
stakes,
there
those
with us
stakes,
the day
okay.
that we marked them, so the
That's why those
location
stakes
is
are
known.
Right. that's-
Saw those
We
stakes.
saw the stakes. So when we
Yes.
did the cleanup, we were just not quite sure.
Mhm.
But not only do they move the signs, they take out any pieces of metal sticking up from the old.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
and that's what those cones are there for.
Well, Paul put a rock by one of them. There was no cone.
Yeah, there's one with a cone, but there's another one.
Oh, okay, all right, I thought there was only one.
okay.
Any other comments on the day? Paul, I'm really sorry I didn't get down and see all your
Dave got,
signs.
he's got it on.
Dave was there.
So is that stuff like, it's none of it's permanent, but it could be used again.
Yeah, it's all stuff I have.
Lots of questions down there?
Some of the issues where people couldn't hear what I was doing, or just the people that were, I was explaining something that had a picture, but other people didn't know it till they had to come up and watch.
Well, you know, with that many people, I mean, you know, and a lot of strangers, you know, it wasn't, you know, what you want to call a local event and the local people that you know every day. There were a lot of extra people. I mean, you know, a couple came in from Coventry for the program.
I wouldn't be surprised, it got a lot of publicity. Just to let everybody know, Ken, the foreman, just replied with the following: no worries, I'll have someone get over there this week for sure. I know I've said that before. He's acknowledging that it hasn't been done.
Okay,
So the best we can do at this point is check. He owes me a payment requisition too, so I'm sure he wants to get paid for the last of that job. I will condition that on that being done.
Question for Paul with the promotional materials you had at the ribbon cutting. Is that something we might want to bring to the turkey trot? Because there's a lot of people that come from around the state to kind of show off that we have this in town and maybe.
I could set up a table, I
Yeah.
mean, table with.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that's a tie-in, and people that are unaware that you'll only come here for the race might see another reason to come to visit the town.
That's a good idea.
well, that's a good segue into October 4th, because I was there as the last Green Valley, the trails and the Historical Society. And one person came over and there was one left. And they took it. The trifold that you had, and you know, other people came over and were looking for it, and I said, I don't have any more. But that was nicely done, so that would be something, yes, to have as a,
Trifold.
yeah, you know, because they took the Z maps, took the other one for Putnam, Pomfret, and is it Woodstock? The one that's the bigger one.
I thought it was just Putnam, but I'm just aware that they exist. I had
Yeah,
nothing to do with
Well,
that one,
anyway,
so.
they were, you know, they took those, and then I got rid of a lot of calendars, which was, I was glad, because then I didn't have to carry them home. But, I still got a box in my car, but then, we're doing the reenactment this weekend, so I'll get rid of more calendars there, but, you know, I don't know about what they're going to do, and I didn't hear feedback from people, but the fact on Brian, maybe you got feedback, but you know, the whole road was empty. So, well, to get to the park or get to the ball field, there was only trucks there, and you couldn't really see that from the road. If you were going down on Route 12, you could not see.
Oh, Community Day in
That there
general.
wasn't-
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. That is a constant.
Yeah.
Issue with any events that we do in the park, because it's below the grade of the
Yes, it
road
is, yeah.
slightly.
Yeah.
And there's the chain link fence, and then that,
Yeah.
I think it's mostly like a sumac hedge.
Yeah, yeah,
So there's not a ton we can do about that, other than maybe getting some of those feather banners. But even the feather banners, I don't think are super visible from the road. You do
Yeah.
have to kind of know the events going on.
yeah, because I don't know if it was as well attended as in the past, that I don't know, because when when I'm with Beth, I mean, last year we had 80 vendors. They didn't all come, but we had 80 vendors. This time here, there were 56, and that was it, so.
Yeah, so because of,
Well, that's
at
what she
least,
said.
at least theoretically, because of the problem with the 4 referenda and the budgets, and everybody was in like a fuffle for weeks and weeks and weeks. The planning for Community Day did not start until later than usual.
Yeah.
There was some, were we gonna have it at all kind of stuff. Now I talked to Levency this morning. He said he got both feedback, types of feedback. We've never seen so many people. We haven't seen as many people. So I think it was probably about average. I can tell you, I talked to people nonstop for 4 hours, so.
Yes, but your particular piece was, everybody was really interested in that, that's for sure. Most people that walked around came and saw that and stayed there, and, stayed there, and, but like I say, I walked around a little bit, but,
I think it was probably really about average attendance. It had a smaller footprint because we stayed on the
on the
field.
field,
I didn't use any of what we call the promenade to place vendors.
yeah,
Which in some of the years when we've had higher attendance, or at least higher signups, we have done.
Yeah.
Now, last year we had the problem, which you brought up, 80 people signed up, but only like 60 showed up.
Mhm.
So we had gaps
Yeah.
on the promenade, and
Yeah.
that looks terrible.
Yes, it
So,
does, yeah.
so we kept it all on the field this year.
But the classic cars, I think doubled, if not more,
Yeah.
tripled this year.
I
I
think
mean,
so too.
they just keep on coming.
Casino got a great response. A lot of it was the club that
Yeah.
Ken's part of, my Kaplan's club, so.
Oh,
he
okay,
brought out
because,
people.
there were a lot of nice vehicles out there. What were you driving?
The Saturn Sky,
It was what?
Saturn Sky,
'Cause,
Does that count as a classic?
borderline, still pretty new at 2008, but it's pretty rare.
And the historical society had the museums open. It was kind of interesting.
Did people go up there?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We have to, 'cause I didn't hear a lot about that, and the sound system wasn't nearly loud enough. I don't know if you didn't have it turned up or it just wasn't
Yeah, we,
projecting enough, but I didn't hear about that. I thought Joe was gonna have his tour of the mill again. I didn't hear anyone talk about
We
that.
had that,
we did, there were four of us at 4 o'clock.
Maybe again, I was just so busy, but
Yeah,
if I'm not hearing it, the public's not hearing it, because I'm walking up and down the aisles.
we didn't hear anything either. If you were on the bleachers or near the bleachers, you heard some stuff. But very little. On the field itself, nothing.
I was interested in the Kenny Room. We got the old post office, it's,
Mhm.
that's up there. And I think that was mid-80s when that went away. There were actually some people that came up, and they said, oh, my parents used to go there, and they went around on the inside, and the names were still.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
you know, this guy, oh.
Oh, that's
my
cool.
neighbor," And it was kind of neat.
Yeah.
That is cool.
No, a lot of names are still on there.
I mean, and then some people came back from Joe's tour to the booth to go through the books and find pictures that Joe.
Yeah, we
had
sent some
referenced.
people down.
Yeah.
to-
Oh, yeah, there were two guys that went page by page.
Yeah, those are the two guys that were from.
Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah. So we told them that there's a third volume coming someday. Hopefully next year. Don't hold your breath. Okay, so we're on to October, the cemetery tour, which is coming up at the end of this month on what, the 25th?
It is the 25th.
So Joe and I, we didn't talk about it, but I'm assuming the same as usual, who I'll take volunteers now who can be there.
I should be there.
Paul, are you planning on it?
Probably put me as a alternate.
All right, so I'll have to check in with John, see if he's planning to be there. I don't know if Joe needs more people than that. So,
Well, at least it's gonna be in the daylight hours. That should help with keeping the people on the pathways. And hopefully not many kids will show up, but, you know, because they run around.
It's gonna be at Wisconsin.
Well, I don't think
What's
they're
that?
gonna be disturbing the inhabitants of the cemetery.
3 to 5.
no, but the guy who is the custodian didn't want people walking in certain places, so.
Gotcha.
And you know, that's understandable, but you know, when you've got kids that are 9 and 10 years old, they're not gonna listen to an adult talking, so they run around tombstones or whatever.
Oh, it's 3 to 5. I could probably arrive after that at my other commitment that day and help out. When's the pig gonna be done?
I'm sure that you can go to that and then
Okay.
come to ours.
All right.
I'm quite certain,
Okay,
What's,
nothing.
okay.
Fre-
No, I just wanna say
Lafredo's
it's an
being
interesting
coy.
Tour that you've never, if you've
I've
never
never-
seen it before.
Right, I haven't.
It's an interesting, Joe does a great job.
he does. I mean, you know, how he keeps all that stuff straight, I don't know.
But we need to check with Amanda and make sure she's done all the,
But she's recovering.
she's out, well, I mean. we have-
She's physically out, but she is doing work from home, so you
Mhm.
can
Okay,
email
so
her.
she needs to, this custodian guy needs to be alerted, so we don't have another issue like we did 2 years ago. Right. So I haven't talked to anybody. We'll check in with everybody. Okay,
All right, turkey trot.
Oh, is that coming up again?
Yeah,
Totally forgot about it.
yeah.
So I assume all my volunteers here will be there helping out. You know, David, sometimes you don't make it, you're with it. Paul, you're gonna be able to, you're not gonna be, well, you can't be at Kai's, because Kai's is gonna be at the turkey trot. So you won't be flinging pumpkins this year.
no, but if he's gonna do a table, he's not really gonna. be-
That's fine, but that's what I'm gonna say, if he could do the table. This year, we're getting, I've requested 3 constables that'll help with parking and might help with, being on the trail, you know. Whatever.
Now, one of the constables had said to me, what about radios? Like having some of the people who are out on the trail with radios this
Yeah,
time.
Well, if they can bring their
Well,
radios.
so you need to check in and say, yes, we want X number of radios.
Yeah.
I mean, it's safer having that out there.
Yeah.
There were so many constables on Saturday. I thought, you know, holy mackerel, you know.
Yeah,
It wasn't even all of them.
I get there early, and they were all waiting, they said, where is everybody? They got there like half hour before. They said, oh, somebody told them it's gonna be for 8 o'clock or something.
So otherwise, turkey trot's normal, we're down to the last month, I'm way behind at posting things on Facebook. Just because I find it more challenging every year to post it and share it, and I don't look forward to it, but I have to do it. Have to make sure Levency's doing all the necessary orders and stuff for the awards. I can't do a Winnie thing, if that's gonna happen, it's gonna be him unless anyone else wants to join him. As a candidate, I can't appear on Winnie to
Oh,
vote anything
that's
else.
right.
So, I can't get involved with that. Obviously, we have to get the T-shirts ordered. I'm feeling much better about our fundraising. Did you hear anything more, Karen, about your perspective?
No,
Input. Of course, I did not aim my camera correctly when I took this picture, and I cut out the part that I needed. Right now, we've physically received $11,510. We have just shy of 7,000 that have been promised and committed, but they still getting me nervous because they haven't paid yet. If you put those together, we will exceed last year's total. But there are still some of last year's sponsors that are likely going to be lost or haven't committed yet. That is our focus this week, to make one final try at them. If we were able to keep everyone at this point, we would finally exceed my goal of 20,000 in sponsorships. But that was just over 20,000. So unless we can add another one or two, we're likely gonna fall a little short of that. We've had some terrific new sponsors. I think they need to be named specifically in the notes. I know this is recorded, but we do have had a couple surprise sponsors of $500 and $750, and that's what's really helped out balance the number of people that have not committed from last year. Because if we got everyone from last year, like I said, we're looking at another $3,000 there that has not come through. So our focus is to still try to get as close to the 20,000 as we could. I even doubled my donation this year in an attempt to get to that number, as that's a number I'd be really proud to achieve. Signups, the run sign up continues doing well and pacing well ahead of last year. The latest email, we get an email every day when someone signs up. And have one, I usually move it to a folder. Here we go. We are at 41 people registered for the 5K, which, considering we normally get about 130 or so before day of, 120 or 130, we're about a third of the way with a month to go. So we might set a record for attendance, participation, provided the weather looks good, because we know a lot of this depends on the weather as we get closer
Oh,
to
yeah.
the event. We did have, I'm not sure about, as far as tables, we know, Bay Kimball usually has a table set up. I don't think they were able to commit yet on that this year. Meadowview usually like to give out cookies, but she's not sure if she can do it, and we know she had a health issue at Community Day. Hopefully she's okay from that. The new one, though, that did want to participate is Fort Hill Farms, a first-time sponsor.
Oh,
She's setting up a table with sampling of her milk, and suggested that, I don't know her name, forgetting it, Brian Kernoyer's wife,
Karina, or Karina.
Karina, yeah, she makes trail mix. They had a table at Community Day, and Kaiser suggested that they team up at their table. And so that is a sponsorship. I said, well, she's going to be giving out or looking to sell. I'm fine with looking to sell. We had cars there from Heritage Ford last year. Then you've got to sponsor, they've got to sponsor it. So they were going to sponsor separately to be at that table. Paul's going to have his table. We just have to make sure we arrange for the tables in advance that'll work the best and not be in the way of volunteer table. A lot of that's going to depend on weather. I can't have guys out in the middle of the parking lot. If the weather's nice, that's probably a great location for if it's not raining or snowing. Otherwise, we need to get as much of that under the roof as we can. So we'll know more about that as we go forward. Talk to Michelle from the dam at Community Day. As far as she knows, everything's looking good. She knows John always walks in advance, and John, if he hasn't yet, and he hasn't told me he has, he promised he would walk it within a week or so. So I would hope he's walked the course by the end of next weekend, and let us know where we stand as far as having the course ready. Obviously, we're having a very dry year, so there's no flooding issues that we're looking at.
Now, you and John set up a day before. Do you
Yes.
need more people
No.
for that?
All we need is me, John, and Peter Lusa. That's the main thing, is me and John walking the course and setting the kilometer marker signs. Jeff French has once again confirmed that he's going to mark the course that day. He usually marks it after we set up the kilometer signs, and Peter and John mainly put up the banner and help with moving those heavy picnic tables. That's all we need. Anyone else is just extra, as long as everyone gets there early enough the next morning. I forget what time we got there, but as you know, it's a little more setup in the morning because we have to actually physically set up the kids' race before everyone gets there.
What time usually? 7:30?
Around 7:30, I think.
I usually get there by quarter day.
I know my wife's helped me set it up too, and Dave Kimball, if they're there, sets up their obstacles, so. That's the biggest pain because. Well, the biggest pain is probably doing the volunteer and handing out shirts, but getting that set up in time, because it does take a little while. And fortunately, this year, UConn has scheduled their game at 4 or 4:30 in the afternoon, so I'll be able to stay till the end of Turkey Trot. Well, one year they scheduled it at 12 o'clock,
You're a piece of work.
but I think I missed the game that year.
Oh,
As I know my responsibilities to do.
Lyanne
like
is
it.
coming in now, just so you guys know.
Ooh,
Lyanne is
Oh.
joining now. By the way, I just got an email to my work email from Charlie, so he's apparently unaware that he's supposed to be here. Because he's home sending emails.
okay, any other
Well, I'll
questions?
apologize, because I usually send out 2 reminders for this, but I didn't, since I
At
was.
this point, you
I
would think he'd know.
I know, I was late with the second reminder, so, the first one, so I didn't send the second.
Any other questions, concerns, ideas? Since we don't meet again before the day. Did you sell a lot of t-shirts? Just the one yesterday, or,
3 yesterday, or 3 Saturday, yeah.
and you're still gonna bring those to Turkey Trot too to sell, or just?
No,
Old
you have
ones.
the other t-shirts. I don't think we've ever sold the
Okay.
t-shirts there.
I didn't think so.
No,
No.
no, I mean,
It
it's,
gets too confusing
yes.
with all the different
Yeah,
shirts,
no.
previous years.
yeah, and you
shirts
know, this one wants this one and that one wants that one, and the next thing you know is they're all gone and you don't know where they went.
Oh, the big thing we're missing this year, and other than music and recording, I don't have a replacement. Is the national anthem singers.
Now, there were people singing the national anthem on Community Day, fooling around at one of the booths.
Well, if that's,
Who were they?
I know the school told Brian Levency they couldn't, whoever took over for Kate Anderson. Now, I don't know if Kate could do it with her new class from Putnam, but I no longer have a way of getting hold of Kate because I got a hold of her through the education, like,
Who?
I never had her
Do
personally.
you know there was a booth with some young ladies with dark blue shirts on that had like music something?
So the limit of my role
Who the
With-
heck those people were?
with Community Day is to get the list of the names of the organizations and plug them into spaces on the field. I don't interact.
All right, I mean, there
with
were
anybody,
organizations,
so
you know who they were.
I
I
didn't see
didn't see
any
that.
organization, but what I did do is I put all of the youth related stuff in one line so
Okay.
that people would be near their friends or whatever.
Yeah.
I do not remember the name of any organization that would have been specifically one of the music groups, but the Turtle Up Memorial High School class advisors had one booth, middle school PTO had one, so it could have been attached to any of those school groups. But I don't do any, the only thing that sometimes happens is that I'll help bring in the feature band, but I didn't even do that this year.
So I'm sure we're fine with some generic public recording of it if we have to. Our sound system can play iPhone. Just nice to have more of a personal touch.
You don't know, well, you wouldn't necessarily know from any list of people signed up, anybody who might be a music student, a kid from the school, you have a youth division, right?
I have no idea. No, well, kids sign up for it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Probably get Kate's information off the Putnam school page.
I don't know, man, probably.
I'm thinking unless you had to work with them from scratch to develop it, doesn't have to be Thompson Kids, it's.
No, but the school department here, they just said we can't do it, but would she put it out to some of her students, a small group that want to do it?
I don't know.
Just so you guys know, Lyanne just popped in the chat that she'll be able to help with Turkey Trot again. So
Yeah.
I assume that the reason the kids can't do it is because it's on a Sunday and they would need to have a faculty person who
Probably.
was associated with them. And they do put the time aside for community day every year, but I think every time it's been moved to a Sunday, they won't do it. I think that they
Okay.
just plain old won't come out to do Sunday events.
Well, they've always done ours, and it's always been on Sunday.
Okay, all right,
Also
so I
Kate,
stand,
and
I stand
know
corrected, which is
Kate
fine.
from Brianna being her student, and maybe she just continued to do it as a favor.
Yeah, why don't you get your kid to do it? She sings.
I can't see you doing that. Not the national anthem,
Well,
challenge.
it is unsingable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is unsingable, but people sing it anyway.
Wouldn't mind getting young Matt Brower. That's used to sing it with for all the basketball games and stuff, and he was a great singer for it.
So ask Matt to talk to his kid.
That's possibilities.
All right, so
Okay.
since we don't have another meeting, if things come up in the interim, let us know.
Oh, of course.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll go through you if you, and then you can send anything out to the committee as a whole if necessary.
Oh.
After all, this is my last year.
Famous last
You
words.
need it?
Yeah, right.
That's what I kept telling her all day Saturday.
need an intern. Okay.
Okay, we're on to trail updates. Airline State Park Trail, do we want to keep on talking, or? It says next steps and grant options and,
Well, I mean, I don't have anything specific that I'm working on for the trail. I haven't actually even been able to go to the last couple of the, I think,
Well, yeah,
of the
yeah.
12 town, because I've always had some conflict scheduled.
I mean, none of us were
I
able to
think
go
we
to
had one on
the day
the
we.
Saturday, we had to.
Or the Monday we did the cleanup, we were
Oh.
out there, so, but I had told them, and I haven't seen any recording link come through. You know, they're supposed to record the meeting.
Oh, yeah,
And,
and I think Bruce has actually sent those relatively late afterwards, some frequently. I can tell you, and I was talking to Bruce about this at the ribbon cutting event. Recreational Trails Grant is opening soon. There is a webinar for it. I think John had actually emailed all of us about it. But what you have to keep in mind with that is that grant requires a 20% match. It can be in kind, and there are ways to calculate in kind. I tend to avoid using in kind. Only because I think the cash match actually helps more than the in kind match. I mean, I'll throw it in there as
Yeah,
as
I mean,
a
we used to
boost.
keep track of all our volunteer hours. And had a record of it, we haven't been doing that, so we have to hustle if we want to do it.
Yes, you
For
would have to
Something
do
like if it's a grant that can help us get the stone dust and fix the erosion, I know I would certainly be willing to make a motion to use the funds that we've been building up. Again, that's what I've said, that's one of the reasons I don't want to spend a lot of the funds that Turkey Trot has gotten for trails in case we need it for a situation like this, where we need a matching grant and what it could help us get for a bigger amount.
Right, so
Rather
we've
than-
got about $10,000 we could devote to that at this point.
Depending on when it goes through, with hopefully another 5,000 to add to that this year.
You just see if the deadline for that is posted.
The thing with I mean, John, you know, he had a good idea of getting stone dust locally.
But then
And then,
who's paying for it?
right, well,
We
right,
can only pay for 10,000 worth, but if that 10,000
but
can be used
right.
to get a
but
grant
what-
that gets us
but what I-
50,000.
Right, but what I was. There's the 12 Town Alliance is still supposed to be working on maintenance agreements with the state, and really this is the state's responsibility on. the
Yeah,
state
ideally, I
trail.
don't want to spend any money that the
The
state could
should be
spend,
spending.
but we haven't even gotten the erosion fixed
Right,
in 2 years.
So I'm just trying to go through and see. They haven't on the CT Deep website put the new application up yet, so I can't tell you what the
Okay.
due date will be. No, how long you would have to work on it. But last year, the application deadline was March of 2024. Now that seems like it does not match up to, yeah, so, okay, so I'm looking at last year's page for that. The informational Zoom was held on January 11th, 2024, and then about, call it 2 months later, was the due date. So I believe that that webinar is sometime this month, which would be sometime in late November or early December for the deadline. I will say this, I have no sense of any, really at all, of what the costs associated with that stone dust installation would be. I have no idea if the money that you have in your kitty would be sufficient for a 20% match or not. It's not
but
something I've looked into before.
It's basically the material cost if we could get
And
the first selectman and the select board at the time to agree to donate the DPW time to do what they did last time. If we're just paying for materials, that seems like a possibility. If it's not due until a month after Turkey Trot, we likely have up to 15,000. And if you could put the as-kind hour, in-kind hours, in addition to that, then we're not just asking for free stuff, we're giving some money towards it and in-kind hours. And that could really possibly add up to a significant enough number to handle it.
So I would recommend this, is to really, before the municipal election, especially since that webinar is sometime soon. I want to say it's next week, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong about that. Talk to Amy and ask her if she thinks DPW would be willing to provide. And because there is fundamentally no money for road work in this year's budget, you may find that they are more receptive to that than they have been in the past. I think that is a reasonable ask, but what I don't know is if, because they don't have that road work burden, if they've already been committed to other projects. So that's the real, I mean, Joe has been fantastic in terms of his support for this stuff.
But
So
what time frame would we be talking about? 'Cause
Well, they wouldn't be, by the time we get it and buy it, it's gonna be winter, I'm sure they're not gonna be able to do it till spring.
Right.
But they're still not gonna be able to do any paving until after next year's budget in all likelihood, because this year's budget was so wiped out for paving, so.
So I'm just trying to think through logistically what happens if you're successful with a grant. So if the grant is open in October, applications are in by December, you're probably not getting an announcement until late February, early March, and then you have to finalize the contract. So it is possible that the work itself rolls into the next fiscal year. So that sort of throws a little wrench in that idea that the guys might have more time. Even so, I would say it still becomes easier to plan for. If you're talking to them now and getting the commitment. We already have one in-kind commitment from DPW. If the grant that the Conservation District submitted on our behalf to CT Deep, who then submits it to EPA, is awarded, and that's the work in the parking lot here on the side for the low impact development and stormwater management. So that would be another wrinkle, is that they've already committed themselves to one in-kind labor project. I don't think it's a really onerous one for them. I think it's a couple of days' work for them, but that could also be a factor. So if you want to decide to do it, the first thing somebody needs to do is get a real cost estimate for materials. And then Joe would also have to determine the value of the labor for you. Based on his crew's hours and what he thinks. But you also would have to, and I'm happy to write it for you. I don't really know where we're talking about, how much of the trail we're talking about. It's probably
And
not,
that would come down to cost again. I mean, obviously, I think we want to finish what wasn't done. And if there was enough money, resurface maybe what was done, but that has that erosion area. But if we go from Lowell Davis up to the Massachusetts line, that was never done.
Lowell Davis to the Mass line. Okay, so somebody would have to come up with what's the linear footage of the installation, all that stuff.
And
Yeah,
that's
but
easy
that-
because we have the signs from last Green Valley that Diane got that shows how much is between each section.
Oh,
So
perfect.
all we have to do is look at the
So
sign.
that's perfect.
The surface though, from East Thompson Road to the Mass line is not bad.
It's not bad, but if we want to get the whole thing done, I mean, again, we might have to break it down to a smaller segment and just do Lowell Davis to Sandan. But if we can,
But the
it's
erosion,
even better if you could do it all the way up by the
But the
train run
erosion-
park and beyond, because you'll have that nice surface all the way through that area too.
the erosion section is the other end, it's in the.
Right.
In,
And we might have to treat that separate anyway, because stone dust is not gonna fill the erosion. We still need to get that fixed by the state before we can consider fixing that. If we have enough material left over, maybe they can do that as well, but that's not gonna happen until the erosion's fixed.
Sounds like a lot of stone.
Not any more than what they got from last time, but again, none of us really knows what they got or how they got it or what we paid, or at least Tara and I don't, that was before we were here.
The state did it, so we don't know.
They did,
All right,
they did the stone dust when we were here, but how we got the stone dust was prior to our involvement.
You could also initiate a one-on-one conversation with Kim, because recreational trails is her program. She is
Right.
the CTD person. Particularly if it's around that section with all the erosion. Maybe the state would be particularly open to an application that addressed that. I mean, I don't know how much assistance they can give on a competitive grant program, but she might be able to give you some higher order advice
I'm
on a
still
path to take.
confused. They're saying, from what I remember, the deep is saying it's DOT's thing and DOT's thing.
Are we
it's
still
not
on
our
that?
thing. So. Yeah, I mean, it's, nobody wants the responsibility really. But I want to put out like a more global question, and is this stone dust and resurfacing more on the airline, more important to this Trails Committee than, say, the next phase of the train wreck park?
I wouldn't say it's more important, but the next phase of the train park is still significantly more expensive.
I think so too.
Right.
The pavilion.
Even if we split it up, the pavilion is still, by itself, it's probably gonna cost as much as the stone dust, and how important is just the pavilion. The welcome center is gonna cost more. I mean, our original estimate was that we needed another 400,000 plus that we didn't get. It's a big difference between 400,000 and maybe getting 50,000 to do the stone dust.
Okay, I'm just throwing.
No, I'd love to do both, but I don't see how we leverage a $15,000 budget. Treasury account and trails into that kind of money. We needed what, over 100,000 to get
So
the
pick-
400,000 grant?
Picnic pavilion was less,
Right, but then we also just recently talked about the
So the picnic pavilion of the two tasks is the less expensive from the estimate we had 2 years ago.
Right,
And that
it's pre-inflation.
here is, well, it was about when things started to go a little kooky. About 87,000 for the, so for 20%.
And it's figured it's gonna
Right.
be 100,000.
Right, that's without any contingency built in. The welcome kiosk was estimated at the time for 131, we call it 132. Now, some of these things, well, I just think these two bottom tasks, I think you can probably deduct about 10 from that between, because we've got the fix-it repair was built into that. And the sanitary facility enclosure, inclusive of excavation, concrete slab and construction. There is the rest of that slab there and nothing is sitting on it. So was that slab, the slab for the facilities and we're just not using it because it's not, that was for the bike rack,
Yeah,
okay,
that's not nearly
all right.
enough.
All right, so really you can only, so you would have to call this really just under 130.
I mean, if
So
it's-
of the two, it would be that. Now, we all know that there are at least some vandalism problems associated, which is one of the reasons that we pulled some of these tasks. I mean, in addition to the budgeting, I don't think anybody has ever been fully satisfied that we have cleared the vandalism issue up there.
No, and it came up again when people started moving stuff around, the metal stuff up at the turntable.
Yeah, so this, the picnic tables were mounted. So I was gonna, they're not movable picnic tables. I'm looking at this, that we had about 20 grand in there for 5 8-foot tables, recycled plastic, ADA accessible surface pedestal mounts. So they were embedded, they weren't mobile, for that reason. I will say that the folks that I got the estimate from, they were local, but you would have to bid it. And the bids, once you factor in things like prevailing wage, because you'd be stuck, I think, with prevailing wage as a state project. I'd have to double check that. If it's just a modest amount like this, you might be able to skate under what triggers prevailing wage.
Well, materials are up, way up. from when we did this.
They'd certainly be up. This was a 2023 application, so they might not be up as much as it would have been if it was a 2020 quote. That's when things really went haywire, but yeah, they'd probably be up still.
I'd be fine with
that's-
any of those three projects, it's just which one do we have enough to get,
Right,
if we have to provide a match. Is the 15,000 and the in-kind enough to achieve part of the train wreck park? Or just the welcome center, or is it enough for the pavilion, or is it enough for the stone dust? I'd rather not do something that the state would do, and why spend our money on it? But I don't see the state doing any of this unless we get a grant or
So,
do it ourselves.
and the other factors that you need to consider that are a little more like trying to put yourself in the heads of the state, is that if they get heavily subscribed, for the program, which they are likely to be, because all of the federal funding for bike ped has been cut because, and these were the actual words used, because it's hostile to cars.
They're what?
Hostile to
Wrap,
cars.
wrap your heads around that one. That means that the opportunities for trail funding are now more limited, so it's gonna be heavily subscribed. And when that happens, the folks who read these grants have to decide if they want to fund one or two fully, or if they give partial awards. So if you're offered a partial award on something where you are already at the bare bones of what your budget could possibly be, now even if you get the award, you can't do it. So
I would say for both the welcome kiosk and the pavilion, there's not much room for what you can and can't do. You actually might have more wiggle room with the welcome kiosk, because that was like multiple things. It was the enclosure for the sanitary and the kiosk and the this and the that. Whereas with the Stone Dust, if it's a partial award, and you can scale that more easily to what you're actually awarded. I would say that that is the easiest of the three. But yeah, and there's not gonna be any federal opportunities coming for who knows how long. So,
Makes sense. And there's so many things that are big projects, that's gonna be harder for them to grant the connecting one trail with the other over, but connecting the airline trail, I think, with something else in Portland, and you've got the Putnam connection. There's some multi-million-dollar things out there.
there was something like a $12 million
Yeah.
trails grant in Naugatuck Valley somewhere, I think. That was a major, major project. Every dime of that got revoked.
Uh-oh.
That's, I don't see money going to bigger projects. They're gonna try to do smaller projects where they could
Or
spread
not
out
done at
the
all.
spread out the joy a little with what money they do have, because you go for a $12 million project. Rest of the state is screaming, how come they got it? We didn't get anything, and
Yeah, it's just a mess.
so I don't know if you wanna. At some point, schedule a second meeting to discuss it as we find out more stuff.
I-
Since this will come out possibly before our next meeting in December.
Right, I think we should just, without a meeting.
Let me see
try
if
to
I can
get some
find the notice of when the
Stone Dust
webinar
information.
was.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
but
try to-
before a meeting, we
Yeah.
wanna get that kind of information.
And.
I'd say
I mean,
before the meeting, find out something, and I don't know where to go myself. But find out the Stone Dust information, find out the DPW information
Yeah.
related to the Stone Dust.
And does Kim see anything happening with, for the 12-Town Alliance getting maintenance agreements? I mean, we could put the Stone Dust down, but then it's still on us all the time to keep it.
Well, what was put down is held up really well, except for the hills approaching the streets. That we have not been able to maintain, and the erosion under the road. But you look at the section from Sunset Hill to Lowell Davis, it's still almost as good as it was when they laid it down, because it's a flat surface, there's no hill to the streets, except on the Sunset Hill side, there is that hill, so there's erosion on that. But for the most part, it's held up. How long ago has this been done? 7 years now, 8 years?
All right, I want to bring up one more thing I saw in my notes recently about this. There's something I saw about, we have to get a permission to install the second pipe.
Yeah, but I'm sure that, I mean, just because it's going on state property, unless it's going on town property.
That the one going to Mechanicsville?
I
Yeah.
guess So,
Yeah, I'm sure that is uncomplicated. I have been out there with Kim, I believe, so they were aware that we were looking at, I mean, this is over a year ago. Here we go. Informational webinar is indeed October 18th for CT Deep, and the applications will be due on December 18th. So yeah, just 2-month window.
Sure, I'm committed on the 18th for something, but I can't remember what offhand.
Well, it's just a 1 o'clock. They're usually an hour long.
So we pretty well covered.
I'm just gonna point out that we don't ever talk about the other trails and.
No, I think of that every so often too, that they're used less, but we don't even maintain them. And now we've got more maintenance that we need to do at the train wreck park, because what we did before the ribbon cutting, we're gonna have to do that a couple times a year to maintain that
How
area.
many of the other trails are actually Wyndham Land Trust properties?
Well, the Leclerc, Hamler, and the Bull Hill.
So that's their
That's their-
responsibility anyway.
Right,
And the trail around the dam is federal.
right.
So what do we have that
is.
behind the
Okay,
KFC,
yeah,
is town property, and the Bull Hill soccer thing is town. And I don't know, but we used to maintain like stuff, we helped the Army Corps, we used to do that. Like Fisherman's Walk and.
well, if we had more people,
Younger,
we could.
yeah.
We really don't have the volunteer
I know.
corps to send out to more of these places
Right,
unless we
but
get more
who
commitments.
all is on this Facebook page? You know? We used to be able to organize work parties without Facebook.
Gotta find a way, because sooner or later, look around the room, we can't keep doing this ourselves. There needs to be other people stepping up and taking ownership for the next generations.
I did talk to a guy, of course, I did not get his name, who did seem like he might be interested in volunteering generally. I was obviously talking to him about the development projects, but as one does, you get on all kinds of tangential topics. And he said he actually lives near the leg of the airline trail that goes up towards the marker.
Okay, that's not the one. Okay.
Now, he wasn't talking about possibly volunteering for trails in general, but he seemed very motivated to get involved, which is always a good sort of entry point.
And we have.
I mean,
the name
younger
of the
than
guy
any
that
of
they
us.
call. You ever reach out to him?
I didn't have.
Because there was another guy who lived along the trail, who thought one offer, he would help with maintaining that trail anyway. But if we get a couple people help with that trail, we have more ability to look at other trails.
Excuse
Oh, that goes on the list for agenda. Okay, so we've pretty much talked about the maintenance work days. You can't do anything until you know what you've got and where you wanna do it. Social media. Facebook post, bike group map. Okay, so we'll go on. Trail census, you can't do much because
Well, right, I'll have to check in. I mean, they told us to stop doing the calibration because it was so hot and the counters weren't working. And I haven't seen anything since that says go ahead and start it, but we're gonna have to put in our 10 hours to sit there and calibrate the
Nice going by the trail today twice, going to dog agility and back, and the same cars were parked at my trail, had one with a Massachusetts plate, one with a New York plate. And I don't know if it was one of those cars, but as I was driving to agility, there was a couple and I stopped and asked where they were from. They said they were from down the road. I don't know. Massachusetts down the road or Thompson, and they had a kid in a stroller and a kid in a carrier, and they're just walking the trail, and they said they'd come from the other way, they're heading up towards Sandan. So it's nice to see that midweek on a nice fall day.
When people park on your road. Do they park in front of the gate?
They can't help but not if there's more than one car there.
The last time.
One car can park to the side on the Sunset Hill side. These cars were next to each
You
other.
can't mow any further because it's a car.
Yeah, but where else do you park there? If they park across the street, they've got to park parallel to the street, that blocks the gate. It's, you basically can fit 4 cars on the street.
I mean, if you know that you're gonna mow, then you put a sign on the gate says, please don't park here at X, Monday from.
I have to do that on every gate.
mower.
Every
I
road
could,
is 2
I could
gates.
see where it's a pain, but we also want them to be able to use the trail.
Because I'm planning on probably doing the whole motorhome trail again this month sometime.
You know what else? to do.
I mean, we just, the biggest issue is if somebody parks there after I've already been through, I can't get down. That,
I mean, if I'm around and you schedule it, I could make sure whether it be signs or just hanging around that area, that those gates stay available to you. But I don't know how you can do it otherwise.
Okay, let's go on to equipment, tools, status, maintenance. Need any Any funds for something?
Just petty cash or, well,
Okay. 65 Main update?
Nothing really happening there until the SIP grant is, well, no, I shouldn't say that. So I did officially finally close the grant 6 months later than I was supposed to, but it took forever to get some of the design detail stuff in. The site design for the portion that would include the trails and the gardens is complete. So that is an engineered site plan with the landscape design and the trail cuttings and all that. The two outside nonprofits who are donating seed stock or root stock for the upper part of the grounds will be ordering that for us this fall to be planted next spring. So that's the 10, it's actually chestnut seeds from American Chestnut Society, the Connecticut chapter. And I believe they will actually be sending the volunteers to do the planting. And then we have another, call it 10, although it might not actually be 10. A mix of apple trees and serviceberry coming from a group called Regenerative Roots. They were another grantee under that same USDA program that we had our planning grant for. I made the connection with them during one of the quarterly get together and talk about how fabulous you are calls that they had for all the grantees. They're based in New Hampshire, but their grant was to plant public orchards throughout the New England region, and they were missing some partners in Connecticut. So we might be the only one, or they might have one more partner. So they're ordering those bare root stock, and those will be in the spring. There's an arborist in town. A lot of you guys probably met him the other day. He was on the other side of me, Greg, who was on the Wetlands Committee, who has done a bit of volunteering for us, and he's already said he'll give us whatever assistance he needs. So at the very least, even if the state continues to drag on my contract process to finish the renovation in the building, because of where the orcharding is located on the plan, that can happen no matter what's happening in the building or no matter what's happening down in what we've been calling the bottomlands. Now, the appropriations request that Courtney has accepted twice, they still have it, but it doesn't take a genius to figure out that with the way Congress is treating the budget this year, I would say the chances are high that we'll have the same result we had last year, which is they will continue to pass continuing resolutions into March, and they will scrub all the appropriations. I am assuming that that is what's going to happen. If anything other than that happens, it's all to the good. But I'll just keep passing that up through Courtney's office until it gets funded or until another opportunity comes up. I think the most likely opportunity to come up is the same program that's funding the renovation, the SIF grants. We are an eligible community for that. So if I get far enough along on that project and it looks like we're not getting any other funding for the landscape work, I will probably submit a follow-up application to SIF, maybe with another couple of things for the downtown revitalization stuff to try to get that piece going. Grants are what they are. They're competitive, and you've always got to go up against everybody else's good ideas, but those are the most likely avenues that I see. So nothing quick.
Okay. There's nobody here to report from neighboring towns, but I'm planning on going to the ribbon cutting ceremony in early November for the trail between Sturbridge and Southbridge. That's finally gonna go to the paper mill, or what used to be the paper mill in Dudley.
the intersection by the Golden Greek there.
Yeah.
That's a sharp turn, you know,
Yeah.
they're doing a lot of work there.
Yeah, they,
Bridge looks good that I see it, cause I fill up sometimes at the gas station there, the Exxon. It's cheapest station around and it's quality gas. And I drive out and I see that bridge and say, I gotta walk this trail sometime.
well, they finally, they put back, it's a small street, right by the traffic circle. If you keep on coming towards Connecticut, there was a rail bridge up there, and they took that one out along with the one over Main Street, but they put a new deck up there that they did replace, you know, what was there, so I'm biting at the bit to get and see, you know, I wanna walk it also, cause, I mean, you know, that's like 40 years ago, and they finally did something, so.
Lyanne just dropped in the chat that she'll go to that too, so she can
What's
be,
that?
Lyanne just dropped in the chat that she'll go to that ribbon cutting too, so
Oh, okay, good.
you
Well,
guys
when
can,
Get
go
an
together.
invitation, or if you
No,
have it,
I
it
don't,
needs
I
to-
don't, I don't think it's gonna be an
It's
invitation.
not gonna be a
No,
public,
because,
a public,
well, yes, it's gonna be public, but, you know,
well, I'm saying when you have a detail.
If you can get a date for
can
us.
you set-
if we
We'll
can-
send it to the whole committee.
yeah, I
Okay.
think it's the 5th of November, don't quote me. But, yeah, it's during the week, I know that. So that'll be exciting for me. 'Cause It's been a long time. I even have my official T-shirt. still
Lyanne
from
says it's
that.
in the Walktober guide.
It's in the
Oh, is it?
October?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if it's in the October guide, then. But- Other than that, new agenda, well, you got new agenda that you've got, that we talked about earlier with. Seeing if you can get some funds for something else. And Lyanne, you've had 2 good days already.
So she's on mute on her mic, so I
Huh?
don't know if that's because she can't take her mic off mute where she is. 8 days, she says.
She's at, I think Hammonasset,
Ah, okay,
she's camping out.
gotcha.
Anything else?
Not that I'm aware of.
Obviously, everybody go to town meeting on Wednesday.
Motion to adjourn.
They're sleeping. I'll make a motion to adjourn. There we go.
Who seconded?
All in favor?
Hi. Okay, see you at Turkey Trot
7:44.
if we don't need to contact you soon.
7:44 on the digital clock. Good evening, Lyanne and Valerie.